Howdy folks. Today we're learning to orbit a camera around a subject in Blender. My subject, the lights, the scene, my chosen renderer are already done. So you could start this with a simple box. I just chose to set up a scene, and you can do the same. Or not. Now, I always click camera to view and then adjust things how I like, and you might do that too. Turn that off before you get in here. So just pretend you just opened your box and added a monkey, or opened your scene and added a monkey, and then do this. You're going to add an empty. So go to add, empty, and cube. Bring the cube up. And we'll be rotating around that cube in a minute. How do we rotate around the cube? Well, first off, you press the camera. Hold down Shift. Click the empty. Then press Control P. Then click Object Transform. So now the camera will rotate around the empty, as you can see. The next step is to select that empty. It's a big deal you have the empty selected. And we're going to start to make our animation. Frame 1, the empty is not rotated yet. We'll press I. Make sure you're not inside of the editor down here. By the way, I'm in layout mode, which is the default. Then move over here to frame 120. And on frame 120, before I get started, I'm going to rotate this guy around 360 degrees. So I'll just simply click on the empty. I'll go to the properties of this guy. So I have the empty selected. And I'm going to click on item right there. See how everything's green? It understands that animation is going to take place. And on the Z, I'm going to type in 360 and enter. Next, I'm going to go out here and press I, location, rotation, and scale. And then what I should see is the camera spinning around like that. So our animation is successful. If I press play, I can see it work. Of course, there is an issue here where it's gonna run for 250 frames. I don't want that. So we'll have to take the frame rate down to let's say 130, maybe 140. So here we go. I'm just going to grab this and move it to, we'll say 140 here. There. That's a big deal, right? We don't want that just sitting there static. We don't want to bother waiting on all those frames to render out. In fact, honestly, we could probably stop it on 120. I think the video will stop about there. All right, so now we're ready to render this out. But how do we render it? We need to make it an MPEG, right? So the first step is going to be to go to the output settings, and we're going to figure out what format we're going to save this in. So, but first, before we pick the format, actually, is pick the location. So I'm going to pick a location wherever you want it to. I'm going to put it in my downloads folder, and that's happy. I'm happy. Then work your way down and choose your file format. It's going to be FFmpeg video rather than PNG, which is the default. Next, a little bit deeper, for the container, choose MPEG 4. See how I had to go down and pick that. And then for the quality, I'm going to set this to, not the encoding time, but the quality. I'm going to set that to just low quality, so this happens quickly. Low is quality, because I want this to render out fast. Now we're all set up. Those are all the steps. So if I press Control F12, or if I go to Render and Render Animation, it will run. While this is running, I'm just going to explain that if you're trying to render out a very big animation, you don't want to render this way. You want to create what's called an image sequence, and that's going to look a lot better, work a lot better than this is going to, because if your computer crashes, you're going to lose all your work. which would not be a good thing, right? But for these short little animations for fun, don't worry about it. Okay, let's go see what we got. So I'm going to pop in my downloads folder. I'm going to look at the MPEG that was just generated, and we'll see how it looks. And there it is. Very simple animation, but a great way to avoid having multiple renders of a subject that you're trying to show your friends or maybe your teacher. So I hope you enjoyed my mutant monkey, who I warped and kind of destroyed emotionally and physically inside of sculpt mode. Now, you have a great day now. Take care.